Hello friends, welcome to ExcelChamp. I am Vinai Prakash. Today I would like to show you how I use Excel's tables to absolutely crush it. Whenever I have huge amount of data, I really use tables. Now tables has been around in Excel for more than 15 over years. They were introduced in Excel 2007, but still I find whenever I go for trainings, many people are not even aware of Excel tables. And really guys, I can't tell you how much you are missing out from this free functionality in Excel that is very easy to use and it will help you. So in today's session, I'd like to share with you how I use tables and how you can quickly get started with tables. Let's get started. First of all, I'd like to show you the key benefits of using tables. So there are many benefits. Number one, it makes it easy to visualize the information. Whatever information you have, you will be able to find it easy to quickly look at it. There is a lot of free functionality that is provided that otherwise we will have to write. For example, we'll have to change the colors or get the totals or create range names. There are so many features that I will demonstrate one by one that we get for free. We can also do quicker analysis of our data. That's our third benefit. Plus, we can also do slice and dice of our information the way we want it. On top of it, to further like icing on the cake, we can do pivot table analysis, create pivot charts. If our data is a table, then there is a lot of benefit from creating. That means whenever we update the data, we don't have to do extra steps, and the pivot table or the chart can automatically help us analyze this data. And it also makes it easy to manage this huge amount of data if we set it up as a table. So let's get started. The first thing I would like to share with you is how easy it is to visualize the information, and let us look at the visualization tips and tricks first. So here I have an Excel file which is transactional sales data, and as you can see, the data is not in any particular order. We have the date, the region, the sales rep, the product, category, quantity, and the unit price. And we'd like to see how to make sense of this data. So we have quite a bit of data. By pressing Control down, we look at, and there's about 300 rows. So it's not a lot of data, but how do we make sense of it and how to analyze it? How do you go around? So let us quickly see. The first step we do is to convert this data into a table. That's available on the Home button. So on Home tab, right in the center, we have the Format as Table. When you click on it, you'll see these beautiful colors. You can pick up any color. And here lies the beauty. Many people think that this is just colors, so they don't even explore it or go beyond it. But let me show you what's hiding below the surface. So I'll take this blue color, and Excel has automatically understood the data. It has grabbed the data from the top row to the bottom, and it has already figured out that our data has headers. So there is a check mark here. Really don't have to do anything, simply click OK. So the data is converted into a beautiful table. And let me show you the first visual candy that you will notice as soon as we create a table. So right now I'm outside the table, and my menu on the Excel goes from data, review, view, and developer. You may or may not have the developer. You might have help here. But if you notice, now the moment I step inside the blue color, we get a new menu item called Table Design, and there are lots of buttons and icons here which you were missing out on just because you never converted the data into a table. So let us see the benefits here. First of all, you can see that we get a very odd even kind of darker color and lighter color, which makes it easy to understand the data. Also notice when I go outside and as I scroll down, if let's say we have a huge amount of data and I look at this, what column is this 3? Is this quantity? Is this the item number? Is this the price? There's no way for me to figure this out unless I go to the top to see the column heading. That's because column F does not tell me much. But notice when we go to the top and I have not frozen any top panes, the moment I click inside, everything still stays the same. But when I scroll down, you will notice that the A, B, C, D, the column headers will disappear, and instead our own column headers will take their place. Of course, why do you need the A, B, C, D? So now we can directly consume our column headings and straight away visualize the information in a better way. Second thing you might have noticed is we automatically got a free filter button here. So you can see if I wanted to filter and look at only stationary items, I could easily remove the accessories and the electronics and click on only stationary. So these filter buttons were given to us for free, and I'll remove it, put back everything. And this only happens for the columns which are within the table. So if I go outside and I scroll, nothing happens here, nothing happens here. But as long as you stay within the table, then the magic will begin to happen. That's just one of the beautiful things. The next thing you will notice is that we can also sort the data. For example, this data is not sorted by date. So I can click on it and we have a sort oldest to newest. So if I just click on this, the data gets sorted. Well, we did not have to place any button. The sort and the filters were placed automatically for us. Next, it makes it easy to analyze the data. So our next feature is very nice. Let me scroll to the bottom, and now we are on the 300th row. If I ask you what was the total quantity sold, of course you will come in here and you will do an auto sum. Well, that's fine. This is manual effort. So you will have to do it for every column that is numeric, and there could be several numeric columns. But now I'll show you a hidden golden tip within Excel table feature. So I'm inside the table and I click on table design. Then here, just below the table design, you'll see the total row. Simply checking the total row automatically places the total for us. So how cool is that? So we just need to click inside and click on the quantity, and if I need the total quantity, I can click and see that there are 229 299 quantity has been sold. If I'd like to know how many items were there, we can easily do that. I can click and I can count how many rows are there. Similarly, if I'd like to know how much total quantity did we sell, all I need to do is to come inside the quantity. This is where the total should appear. So I just click on the drop down and I pick sum from here. I immediately get the total quantity sold. And for non-numeric columns, you can't sum them, but you can count them. So if I do a count, we know that there were 299 items that were sold. How easy is that? So these are some of the visual features that I have shown you. So to summarize, we have colored rows and columns, auto sorting and auto filtering, and also it's pretty easy to summarize this data. That's just the visual candy. Now let me take you to our next set of features within the tables, and that's a lot of other free functionality. So we have seen the totals row, but let me show you other features. Things like auto range names, auto expanding rows and columns, and exporting to a SharePoint list, looking at the data like a data entry form and column headers. So there's a lot of new functionality that we have gotten automatically for free. Let's explore it. So I'm going to the top of the data, and if you notice in our data we don't have a total column. So normally I'll have to come in here, insert a column, do the calculation, and then drag down to all the rows and columns. But because this is a table, even though we are just outside the table and not inside, this table has some magical properties. So if I just type total amount and enter, it automatically places this within the table. Further, the formula normally will be F2 multiplied by G2, and then we will have to copy this down. But when I write the formula, what happens is Excel has automatically created a column range name called quantity. It is denoted by the at quantity, means we are going to take the first value, not all the values, multiplied by the unit price, and this again is placed in square brackets because the unit price has a space inside it. You don't have to bother or do anything, simply press enter, and now watch the magic. As soon as we press enter, the data is calculated for all the rows without me having to drag it down. So that's it, we have gotten the totals. And if I go down, and of course we don't have the grand total, but it is as easy as clicking on it and choosing the sum. We can format this to a decimal position. For example, if I want this to be a dollar amount, it is now nicely formatted, everything is showing beautifully. So this is a pretty nice feature, and I'd like to show you that what will happen if we make new cells and shall I insert above, below? You don't have to bother. Simply come to the last row and last column of data, not the total row. If we press the tab key, it will automatically create a new row for us to do our data entry. So I can come in and I can make a sale on the 31st of December 2022 from the East region, from Petty, and we sold a charger is from electronics. Let's say we sold 2 of them at $50 a piece, and immediately the calculation is automatically performed. We didn't have to drag or redo it. The total is updated. All these things for free. How cool is that? Next, I'd like to show you an amazing feature, forms. I'm sure you have seen data entry forms where there are many boxes on the screen that you need to fill up. We can make it our data entry form within this Excel table without doing any VBA macro, user form, or any kind of coding. Forms were introduced very early on in Excel, but then they moved out of the menu bar and were kind of hidden and forgotten. But we can easily bring them out. I have placed the form button here on my screen, and what happens is as I click on any row, immediately I can go back to the next row, previous row, and there is a data entry form. So if I wanted to do an extra data entry, I simply need to click new. I key in the date like 5th of March 2022. The region is East, the rep is Rum, the product is pencil, the category is stationery, the quantity is 5, the price is 3, and then the amount will be automatically calculated. So by doing this, we can easily add new rows, new columns just by clicking the new. So once we add new, this column is added, and now we are ready to add some more. So I've shown you we can directly do a data entry using the tab key, but we can also key it in a form. You can also edit any row. So if you scroll up on any row, if you want to do the data entry, we click on the form and the information from that row is brought into the form. Now, how do you activate the form in case you don't have the button? So simply go to the quick access toolbar at the corner where you see this eject button. Go to the bottom, more commands. Then once you see the popular commands at the top, you pick all commands and further scroll down until you get to the F, where you will find the form waiting for you. So simply click on the form, add, and the form is added. So if I remove my form and then I've got the form here, add, and the form is added. I click OK and tada! Now the form is always going to be available in my quick access toolbar. I'm sure you were not aware of this hidden gem. If you work in a corporate environment which has adopted the entire Microsoft suite, that means you have OneDrive for business, you have SharePoint, you have Microsoft Teams, you use all Microsoft products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, everything. In this case, it's very easy to work with SharePoint lists, and we can export our data into a SharePoint list very easily. All we need to do is to click table design, we come to export, and there is the option export table to SharePoint list. That's it. We can put in the link of our SharePoint portal server and directly publish this list into SharePoint. So I won't go into detail of this, but this is very easy to do. And as you move along, you'll see that your column headers will always stay there, helping you to quickly make sense of data. So to summarize, we looked at a lot of free functionality: the totals row, the auto range names for every column, automatic sorting, automatic filtering, auto expanding rows and columns, even though they were not part, like we added the amount and we added a couple of extra data entry rows. We saw how to export the data into SharePoint and further how to do data entry with forms. Let us now explore the data analysis features of tables. We can now set up multiple conditions and criteria. We can also apply any of the other functions other than totals and counts. So let me begin by showing you these data analysis features of tables one by one. Going to the bottom, we showed you how we can get the total or the count. But let us say I want the median quantity sold or the median amount, in which case you'll notice that the median function is not available here. If you don't know, median is the middle value. It's not the average value. Average is 5.68, but median is the middle value from the lowest to the highest. The average can be skewed depending on how big or how varied the data is, but the median is the middle value. It's a much better measure of central tendency. So if I want the median, I simply go to more functions, look for the median in this list of all the functions. I'm sure you can find it. If not, you can choose all, and then if you scroll down all the way to M, you will see the median is available here. So we go in and we pick the median, click OK, and that's it. Once you say OK, the median is calculated. The median quantity is 5. So it's different from the average quantity. Similarly, you can apply other numeric functions in here. So it's up to you how you'd like to explore it. Let us now look at stationery items, and then also I would like to pick up a particular product. So I can remove other items, pick only stationery, and from the stationery, which is quite a lot, as you can see now, the totals have been updated. We have a total of 150 items that we have sold, line items, and the median was 5. The total amount 5,600. So the totals have automatically updated as we chose a particular category. And if I take accessories and remove the stationery, okay, so we see now that accessories were lesser, only 67 line items, but the amount was about $5,000 also. So this is easy. On top of it, if I want to look at only a few products, like only want to look at keyrings and wallets, so I click OK, and now the count has further updated. Only 32 line items for $3,194, which are only keyrings and wallets sold from the accessories section. I could further refine it and say, let us focus on the south region only. So if I click that, now we are looking at only the 7 line items that were sold in south from accessories, which are only wallets and keyrings. So this kind of multiple selections are pretty easy to do, and whenever you want to clear the selection, simply go back to home and choose sort and filter clear. So all the filters are gone and we are back to all our 300 over lines of transactions. Next, let us look at the slicer feature, which normally used to be present in pivot tables, but actually it's directly available within tables also. So let's explore how this works. So to place a slicer, all you need to do is to go to table design, pick insert slicer, choose the region and the category, click OK, and the two slicers are placed side by side. Let's move them around and reduce the size. Now guys, take note that the slicer should be placed higher up so that if the data is lesser, you can still keep the slicer in full visibility. So the benefit now is that if we click outside and we pick only electronics, the data gets filtered and we can easily see what was filtered. Further, I can only pick south region or north region. Let us take only stationery or only accessories and only pick a particular region, and the totals are updated accordingly. So by doing this, we can easily analyze the data. So these tables and slicers, when they work together, it makes it very easy to do what if analysis and look at how much did we sell here in the, what about the west region? Oh, we sold $1,800 worth. What about the east region? Only 828. So it seems like north 8,008, south was also pretty low. So south and east were dismal sales, and west as well as the north did pretty well. So this can be something pretty nice, and later on I'll show you. We can even see a chart showing this information pretty easily. So slicers are pretty nice, really cool feature. And if you wish, once you click on a slicer, there is a new menu called slicer, and even the slicers can be changed to show the different colors. So you can pick up a different color. There are several of them, and this way the information is pretty easy to pick up and summarize. So here we saw how easy it was to analyze the information, look at extra functions like median. You can also look at how to run slicers on it, and further I'd like to show you how we can go deeper into our analysis. So our next section is going to be pivot tables. How do you summarize this data using a pivot table? So let's get started. So here itself we have the summarize with pivot table. When I click on it, I straight away see the table name, table 2 is picked up. Let us create a pivot table on the new worksheet. Click OK, and a new worksheet is created. Let me zoom in a bit, and here we can choose the product category, we can take the region, and now we can analyze the total amount sold by the product category and the region. Just because our data was in the table, we are able to create a pivot table from the table itself. Now the benefit is that whenever the data changes in the pivot, so for example, if I change the quantity to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I've modified a few of the rows, but when we go back to our pivot table and you simply right click and refresh, we'll see the information changes very fast. So this is the benefit, as whenever the number of rows increases or the number of columns increases, we can pretty easily refresh our pivot table and there is no loss. In fact, you get updated. If I were to now insert a pivot chart directly from here, the benefit is we will be able to analyze our data directly, and from here we can see that electronics did way much more sales compared to accessories and stationery, and even within each of the categories we can see that West did more in terms of accessories, but the electronic sales was more done at South region, and the stationery was more sales happened during the from the North region. So the different kind of analysis is pretty easy to see from here. And now if you would like to see a particular sales rep performance, we can add a slicer directly by going to the pivot and adding a slicer or a timeline. So if I add a rep and click OK, we will see all the reps, and we can look at Amy's performance, we can look at Betty's performance, we can look at Jim's performance, and we can even look at a couple of them together to see what did they sell in which region and what was the amount. So all these benefits are pretty easily available. Let me show you one last amazing feature, which is timelines. So now, since this data had dates, we'll go and insert a timeline on the date. So we will get a timeline like a calendar. So since our data is from 2022, if I pick up March, I'll only see the sales from March, and let us see April. This is April. If I want to see the second quarter, I can pick April, May, June, and this way you can slide in and out to pick or include any number of months. You can reduce and increase, and the data changes dynamically. So this is actually a slicer, but because it's a date column, we call it a timeline in Excel, and this helps you to visualize the information. So now you can slice it by region, by category, by sales rep, and by the period as well. So we are doing multiple levels of analysis. We are looking at a chart which will dynamically be updated as and when the sales data changes. So if the quantities change to different numbers, we come back to the pivot and we simply right click and refresh, and when the pivot changes, maybe there was no change here because we have chosen a particular sales rep, but when we choose for all the sales rep, the amounts will change. So to recap, it makes it easier to analyze the data using pivot tables and pivot charts. We can directly refresh the data and the pivot table is refreshed. You can easily visualize the information from the charts. The charts are created from the tables, and these charts will be dynamically updated as well. So overall, we have seen there are so many benefits of creating the data as tables. Tables make it easier to visualize the information. There's a lot of free functionality to explore. We can do quicker data analysis, slice and dice it the way we want it, and of course within the pivot table there's slicers, there's pivot tables, there's
all kinds of things that you can do. It also makes it easier to manage the data by the increasing and expanding rows and columns, the permanent column headings, automatic sorting, filtering, and we also get to see the auto total row where we can apply any kind of function. So with this, I'm sure you will be able to benefit and begin to apply tables in your day-to-day work. If you like this video, do subscribe to our channel, like this video, and visit our website www.excelchamp.net. Thank you guys, all the best.